a section of what we'll try to put in the documentary is, it's such a hard thing to say, because how can you say, oh, you'll be blessed this way, but we don't want to be prosperity gospel or whatever, but when blessings do happen, it's important to talk about them.
Well, it's part of life. The blessings are part of life. When you walk in these things, the blessings just follow you. Not saying at all that negative things are going to happen, but your perspective changes. You really truly understand that those negative things are actually just directing your footsteps, because you really believe Scripture. So those negative things are just guiding you into a particular direction of where He wants you. And so it allows you to really be happy. And I say that, and believe me, there's been plenty of times where I have to remember that, and get my body and my mind to come in to sync with my spirit and my knowledge and what I know. But miracles have definitely followed. I was telling you yesterday about my whole thing of starting growing in Torah and how all that happened, and I had a good job with Gottschalks. I was a corporate pilot, and I wasn't like making tons and tons of money and stuff like that, but we were very comfortable. I had nothing to worry about, and it was great. I loved the people I was working for, were fantastic, and they were so kind and generous, and I would only work, it was like 1 or 2 days a week was average, and I was home every day. It was good. And then, all that changed. This is what I was telling you. So the miracle parts, even though I was doing pretty well, I was I was also kind of stupid. Getting in debt, getting in debt. And so we were, bought this and bought that, and then we built this house, and and it was good things. We had good things in mind, and we were already keeping Torah at this time, but we were in debt. And so finally we came to this place. This has got to stop. We just can't keep going on like this. It's not right. And the Torah talks about the debtor is enslaved to the lender. And it was so true. You just can't do the things that you want to do because you got to pay those bills. And all the things that we were purchasing, they were all good things. And in fact, they were all good things mostly for extending our fellowship and making a place where people could come, and buying a tractor so we could do things, and buying a lawnmower so we could have Sukkot out there, and put more lawn for all these little things, right? But it got crazy, and so we went on the Dave Ramsey thing, and we were doing the beans and rice, and just total. I listened to every single tape, filled out all the forms, and we were just putting every penny. We were doing the snowball and putting every penny to the lowest one first, or the credit card that was the least amount to get that off, and I think we had paid off our very smallest credit card, woohoo! And we had the ceremony cutting up the cards, did the whole thing. Made a pact between my wife and I that we'd never buy anything on credit again, which we have kept to this day, by the way. And then I lost my job. So the company had been in business for 102 years, and I was I was going to retire there. It was perfect. Working 1 or 2 days a week, plenty of time off. I got to work, I had so much time. I was building stuff here for Sukkot and all these things, and then boom, everything fell to pieces. The job went away. And what happened to the snowball? I don't think I made it that far in the Dave Ramsey book. What do you do then? But I had learned a lot of stuff, and say, okay. so, the creditors were starting to call then, but I was following the book, I was telling everybody, look, I owe you the money. I know I owe you the money, and I'm going to pay you as soon as I can, And so kept doing that, and I had some good friends that helped me to modify the loan on the house, and because we were fixing to lose the house. It was getting pretty bad. But I had been through enough stuff at that time in my life that I wasn't worried. We thought we were going to lose the house. There were times but overall, I knew you always going to figure it out. There was a lot of pressure on me at the same time because we are already having large Sukkots here. And everybody would come over to Sukkot every year. And so I felt a lot of pressure on me. Well, what's going to happen if you lose the house? All these people are depending on you. And of course, that was, in my own brain, it's swollen. It's not my house, it's John's house. And so it didn't mean anything, but that was my own flesh talking, and stuff. So, but I was able to overcome that. Yahweh helped me overcome those things and come to those realizations. So overall, it really was fairly calm. And the modification thing worked out, and our mortgage got cut in half, which was a huge blessing right by itself. And then, but we still had massive amounts of debt. I had a $25,000 credit card here, an $8,000 credit card here, a $14,000 $22,000 or something like that RV that we were upside down on, so you couldn't just outright sell it, and all these things. So there's miracles. I'll start out with the big one first. We get a letter out of the blue. I had a line of credit with a very big bank for $50,000 because we had bought the tractor and all this kind of stuff, and I get a letter out of the blue. And I open the letter. I'm getting stuff from creditors all the time. And you get, most of the time you just kind of sit and I'll go through that later. But I open it up and it says, please, the first top of the line was, please keep this letter for your records. This is proof that we have forgiven your debt of $50,000. Yeah, forgiven. Out of the blue. And I'm like, I remember distinctly, I was like, I don't understand this. What does this mean? And how things slowly start to penetrate the fog of the brain. $50,000, that's a lot of money for me. Now, I'm sure some people out there, maybe chump change, but for us on the beans and rice diet, $50,000 forgiven. And I didn't even know where it came from. I had been dealing with the bank in the same manner, saying, look, the exact same way, I'm going to pay you, and I owe it to you. I know I owe it to you, and then just we hadn't even contacted them about the modification or anything. I can only imagine that it must have had something to do with that, or I don't know. I have no idea to this day why that happened, except that Yahweh just made it happen. And so that was probably the biggest one, but it didn't end there, So we had another credit card, like I was telling you, $8,000, and that was to another company. They actually took me to court. And that, by the way, is humiliating, because it was a Discovery card. It was like you walk into the court and there's all these people, and you always think, oh, well, you're one of the people, and then it comes up on the docket and it's okay. The next one is Discover versus Barnes. Oh my God, really? And yeah, there it was. And I told the judge the same thing. I owe them the money. I know I owe them the money. And I'm going to pay them as soon as I can. And the judge goes, hey, Discover, it seems like a reasonable guy. you guys go take 3 months and see if you can figure it out. And so while we walked out in the hall with the lawyers, all the lawyers there for my little easy little me. And anyway, I told him the same thing. I said, look, I'm trying real hard. My father taught me to work hard and never get anything for free. And, grew up on a farm and all that kind of stuff. And so this was like, it was really tough to see that happening. But I think you're always going to get through it. I come back in 3 months and the judge is reading off the docket and he doesn't call my name. And he says, excuse me, sir, what are you here for? And I said, it's Discover versus Barn. I have a letter I'm supposed to appear. And he says, no, you don't need to be here. And I said, well, here, it's the letter right here. And so the bailiff came and he took it up there. He says, oh, you didn't get they didn't send you the information in the mail? And I said, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. He said, they vacated the suit against you. And I said, I didn't really vacated. What are they, went on vacation? Not really, but I didn't know exactly what that meant. And I kept pressing. He says, finally he says, you don't owe the money anymore. And I was like, well, that's $8,000. Okay. Well, by this time I was able to find, Yahweh had brought this job working for the local college. It was only part-time. I was teaching aviation maintenance because I was a pilot, but I had my A&P license too. So I was teaching aviation maintenance for a little while. I was finally starting to get just a little bit, just to barely keep going. And so it was wonderful. And I had that, I told you, the $25,000 credit card is a big one. And they called me. I walked out of the classroom one time and going to break or something like that. I get a call on the phone, so I'm standing out in front of it at Reedy College. I'm standing out there, and the guys, you talk to these creditors all the time, and you kind of get, what to say and to make the conversation short, and you tell them the same thing over and over again, and I'll do it when I can. He says, well, how would you like to settle? And I said, I'd love to settle, but I have no money. And he says, you don't have any money? And I said, well, I have a little bit of money. I have a tiny, because I just started working and I've got a little bit of money. He says, well, how much do you have? I said, look, I'm embarrassed to even say it because there's just no way. And he says, well, just humor me. Tell me what you got. I said, I could come up with, at the most, I just got paid the other day. I could come up with $2,500. He says, well, that's not very much. I said, I know. He says, well, he says, let me put you on hold and I'll see what I can do. And of course, that always is followed, done this 100 times with other creditors. That always was followed. Well, let's put you on a payment plan of $800 a month and we'll get this, or something like that. Or could you come up with, $10,000, something like that. And he comes back on the phone and he says, well, how about, I'm running the numbers here, how about $2,600? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure I could come up with another 100. And so he said, okay. And I was really skeptical, because it's probably a scam. It's probably one of these things, a scam deal. And so I said, well, I need this in writing it was Bank of America. I need this in writing from Bank of America. And he said, okay, I'll email you the whole thing. And I got it, and it was like, and it was all legit. And so $25,000 was gone. So here in a period of months, I got out of more debt than I would have been able to get out of in years. And this was when I was jobless and penniless. It was like thousands of dollars. And then the last one we got just recently, this was several years ago now. The last one we just got, about a year ago. It was that RV, that $22,000. Anyway, bottom line, they were very contentious, and I did the Dave Ramsey thing with them too. I said, because they were not nice. I said, you know what? You guys just went to the bottom of the list. I said, I'll pay you. I owe it to you. I'll pay you, but you're at the bottom of the list. And they had emailed back and forth, and we had kind of made a deal verbally and through email years ago. And then as soon as I sold the trailer for them and paid them, I was supposed to just pay them a little bit more because I couldn't quite make the difference, on what they would accept. And well, as soon as I gave them the money, they reneged on their deal. And they kept calling me, pestering me for years, probably 3 years, trying to get like that $14,000, And so finally I got a lady that seemed reasonable and actually sounded like she cared. And I told her about the email. She says, well, send them to me. And I couldn't believe it. I did all the search on my, email. I never delete an email. And my brother always yells at me, you've got to clean your email, because he's a computer guy, right? And I said, but I might need it. And so I did. I found the emails. And she said, send them to me. And I said, okay. And I did. I got a letter a month later. It says, your debt has been wiped clean. Yeah, unbelievable. So we went from heavily in debt to we were virtually debt free except for the house at this point, when I've been jobless and just growing in Torah, and working for what we do here, So yeah, so there's some miracles. And there's lots of miracles. I can take you around the property and just show you things that are miracles that happen all the time. Sometimes we don't recognize them, but they're happen all the time.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah.
And even the food, I guess, last night.
Yeah, they told me their kitchen was so worried, and they told me they all gathered around and they prayed over it. This is not going to be enough. And then they had lots of leftovers, after everybody went through. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can wrap up there.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about your life, and
yeah.
I think it'll help people just hearing these things.
Well, I hope so. Yah has been good to me. Just stepping out there and moving forward. That's like I have that on my desk. That's like my motto, move forward. Moshe comes up to the sea, the army's behind him, and Yahweh's, what are you standing there for? Stretch out your arm and move forward. We don't need to wait for him to ask us. Just move forward. And so that's been a huge blessing in my life. And Yah's been right there along the way, parting the seas.
Wait, I have one more question.
Yeah.
This is the last one.
Okay.
Do you have any advice for anyone who was in your shoes back before you came into Torah?
You mean as far as searching out things?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
what would you say to your previous self, maybe?
Well, I came along. It came right. I would say and I tell my kids this. It's not just Torah. This is life in general. It says one of the most important things as you're trying to decide things is be brutally honest with yourself. Don't allow rationalizations. Don't allow things to come in and tell yourself one thing when truly deep down, a lot of introspection. Be brutally honest with yourself and ask, is this truth, or is there something in me that is wanting to hold on to this, that, or the other thing because of whatever reason. If you can do that, if we can do that, we can really get to the truth. It's all these other things, complacency, rationalization, tradition, all these other things that keep us, where we're at, and we can't get out.